when my makeup artist didn't tag me, usually they're happy about their client results and who they know. So like after about four different makeup artists, and I wasn't tagged, I just knew I was one of the uglies and not the beautifuls.
I'm naturally ugly, so keeping myself together is not easy.
Here are my beauty maintenance treatments that I did last month and how much each of them cost. So step one was the Houston Regenerative Therapy Center, where I got a beauty IV drip, and it does just that. It beautifies you. It's gonna brighten and rejuvenate your skin. It takes about an hour or so. This is gonna run you about $175.
When I thought I looked really, really good and nobody complimented me.
And it's not cheap, so I want to walk you through what I do and how much it costs. Starting with nails, every 3 weeks I get a fill-in, and then every 3 fills I get a new set, and I always do nude.
Okay, so next I went to go see my girl KJ at Skin Artistry Beauty Bar, and I got my microdermabrasion facial.
When people got under my post commenting, it's the inside that counts, and you have a dope personality, but the post said, I feel beautiful today.
This is gonna run you about $130. For my nails, I just went to Milano Nail Spa in Memorial City and got a basic almond acrylic overlay. And then for my toes, I get a dry pedicure at Suede by Lex with my girl Lexi. Both hands and feet run me about $80 each.
And I get a pedicure every 3 weeks when I go get my nails done. This runs me about $150 every 3 weeks.
So you're looking at $160.
I never thought I was pretty, really. I mean, it's only been a few years that people started saying to me that I was pretty. I mean, I never felt like I was a very pretty girl.
Got a wash, a steam, a press, and she installed my clip-ins for me and layered and cut it up. It's about $250.
When he never wanted to take me out to eat.
I love it, but I've tried everything with my nose. I've gotten threads, and when I get them, they look beautiful, and they help with my breathing. I used to wear septums to keep my, when I couldn't breathe, I'll do this. And then just lifting this up,
like on the outside, and he was always suggesting let's eat in, because when dudes have trophies as girlfriends, they usually want to take the trophy and show it off.
Next is lash extensions. I get those done every 2 weeks. I'll get a fill, and then after 2 fills I'll get a whole new set. I am very open about getting Botox and filler.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Good! Say it louder.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Louder.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
Louder.
I'm ugly and I'm proud.
When I had to give myself a freckle filter, that was the last straw. Yeah, that was it. Like, I'm 44.
Hello guys, I wanted to show you my 5-week post-op. Other side. The nostrils, don't mind that.
If there's like a ugly meetup that we can talk about the beautifuls in the city, just kind of comment below so I can meet up with y'all, because I'm y'all now.
A little bit of filler, depends on how my face is looking, where I'm going to get it. And I typically will only do 1 syringe, and that's about $600 semi-annually. Next is my hair. Listen, black girls do not play about their hair, okay? I have hair, but what is better than having beautiful, long, thick, luscious locks?
So it's been 2 years since I got my nose done. I wanted to do a little update. I do have makeup on, obviously, but this is what it looks like. I would say that it's settled in completely at about the 1.5 year mark.
So I buy extensions. I get them from Indique. It costs about $600 every time I get new hair. And an install is about $500.
I will say the first about 6 months were a bit traumatic for me. But then I also, looked in the mirror every day and I wasn't completely happy with it for months.
Really is laser hair removal. Now this stuff, depending on where you go, is expensive. I like to go to nicer places because I have melanated skin and thick, coarse hair, so I want the results to last and I don't want the laser to burn my skin. Because of the cost, I'll buy a package of like 8 to 10 sessions, on average $2,000.
I don't remember what day this is, but I think it's day 4 or 5. And this is how the lips are looking. I still have the 2 puncher holes right here, but probably by the next 2 days or 3 days it gone.
Hey Pretty Girl Club, welcome back to the Pretty Privilege series. Has anyone noticed that on average, if you just look at the patterns of the types of content that unambiguous women create, there's almost this notion that unambiguous women have to spend more money in order to compete with exoticals and non-black women. If you go online right now, you'll see that there's a trend where a lot of black women are making content talking about how they're going broke to be pretty. I was talking about this in the Patreon recently. By the way, be sure to join the Patreon if you want kind of like higher quality content, or if you like when I go in depth like this. But you've got women admitting that they're spending tens of thousands of dollars just so they can get the white male gaze. They're spending thousands on wigs, snatching off their edges in the process, suffering with alopecia, spending hundreds of dollars per month joining country clubs and golf clubs or anywhere where they think non-black men will flock to, spending all of this money on going to K-pop concerts, hoping that this Asian guy will spot her out of the crowd. Some women are even moving abroad. So I find it interesting because I feel like a lot of times unambiguous women are what they claim unambiguous men are. It's almost like they're two sides of the same coin, because you had them making fun of passport bros, but then you see this trend with unambiguous women dating foreign men. Or you see these stories kind of like the Danish Deception, where basically she was a passport cis. She was dating a man from a foreign country. You've got other women who are leaving the country, going to places like Mexico. They're moving to new countries because they want the male gaze. And now there's even a trend in the UK, actually, where West African women are saying that the UK is no longer the spot for dark-skinned black women. So now I guess over there, they're also creating trends where they're thinking about immigrating to new countries as well. So imagine spending all this money just so you can get the same male gaze that Exoticals get on a daily basis, just so you can get a fraction of that attention. And some of the creepy articles were pointing out how a lot of women are obsessed with their dating lives. And I've noticed that as well. Like, even if you go on the average unambiguous woman's YouTube channel, the average YouTube channel is going to be about either lace fronts and wigs or, spending money so you can get the male gaze. If it's a psychology or sociology channel, it's going to be how to get a man content, or how to quote unquote level up so you can get a better man. And I've also noticed some of them have this femcel mindset. So of course they're obsessed with dating reality shows. They're obsessed with other women's relationships like Nicolandria. They're obsessed with Love Island and Love is Blind. They're watching every dating and love reality show. A lot of them, they're obsessed with watching Pop the Balloon. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought you guys didn't even like black guys. So like, why are you watching Pop the Balloon, which is like all black people? I thought that means that it's like Blackistan. So why are you even popularizing that show? And I just feel like all of this spending and all of this obsession with dating culture, it's almost like a form of escapism. I feel like some of them feel that consumerism is the solution to colorism. And, that's one of the most idiotic talking points I've ever heard in my life. The exotical space is actually one of the only spaces that gives several different solutions for internalized colorism. Step one being to decenter men. But no, that's impossible because, that's what their living and breathing and existence is all about, is attracting the male gaze, especially white men. And by the way, did you guys see the Candace Owens thing recently where Trump was like blasting Candace Owens? Why are her fellow unambiguous black sisters not jumping to her defense? Because, she is kind of like their trad wife divestment dream, right? She's married to a well-to-do white man. She was a Trump supporter. We all know that unambiguous black women love Trump supporters because they love Nick from Nicolandria. He's a Trump supporter. So, they love Trump supporters. They love conservative white men like Elon Musk, and they love dating men who drive Teslas, etc. So I find it interesting that my talking point has been proven once again, which is that the black sisterhood does not exist. It hardly even exists for unambiguous women. So why would I expect there to suddenly be a black sisterhood when it comes to women benefiting from the isms? It doesn't exist. So instead of focusing on fixing their own internalized colorism, or maybe saving money, maybe acquiring wealth for themselves, there's this focus on, how can I spend more money so that I can get a guy? Oh, well, the Exoticals, they're wearing cheap clothes. They have cheap outfits on. Oh, they're just natural. Okay, let me get a BBL so I can compete. Let me get a rhinoplasty, or let me get all this stuff so I can compete with the Exoticals while simultaneously shaming the Exoticals for doing the same thing. Because I saw all these people, they were talking so much shit about Cardi B. Oh, well, Cardi B got all these surgeries. Well, Cardi B's insecure. And now they're up Cardi B's ass because Cardi B is starting a hair care line, after calling them roaches, by the way. So it's okay to call black women roaches as long as you can help those same black women to grow out their natural hair so they can attract the male gaze. And this is why I said, what's the point of growing out your 4C hair if you're never going to wear it anyway? You're never going to wear it. You're not going to do a wash and go. You're not going to wear it in a high bun or whatever, or a slick back bun, because 4C hair is not meant to be slicked back like that, because that causes breakage. So it's like, ma'am, what's the point of spending all this money? I just feel like consumerism is a habit for a lot of them. I feel like it's a form of escape. And I do think it ties back to a lot of people being from kind of this poor black culture. You know, coming from these impoverished neighborhoods, they feel like it's a flex to show off what you can afford. Also, what is it with a lot of black women's obsession to do all this consumerism? They spend thousands on wigs and makeup and weaves and all that just to not work out. It's like, ma'am, if you had an extra $100,000, why would you not spend some of it on a gym membership? So you're doing everything except exercising. You're doing everything except for losing the weight. You're doing everything except for just growing out your natural hair, which is free. And then I see a lot of them creating this content where they're like, oh, we don't like Eurocentric standards of beauty. Okay, so then why are you listening to these Eurocentric companies? You know, most med spas are owned by white people. You're over here talking about, oh, I don't want to shop at a non-black beauty supply store, which is a lie because, you know, obviously they still do. They'll be talking so much shit about, oh, I want to support black-owned businesses. Black women need to start more businesses. Okay, so I don't want to hear any more complaints about Eurocentric standards of beauty if you're going to continue to go to white-owned med spas to get lip fillers, and now they're calling them Russian lips. What happened to black women are the blueprint? Why are black women going to get Russian lips in the fillers office? I thought that, like, white girls were trying to get your lips. Which one is it? So do you see why I don't trust any of their talking points? It's because they bippity boppity flippity floppity. It depends on what the trends are. They'll flip-flop just like how I Am Aloho flip-flopped on Cardi B. Oh, first she's a colorist. Oh, but now since she's starting a hair care line, now Cardi B is the queen of 4C hair. Now she is the 4C representation, even though they spent decades complaining about being replaced. But my belief is that a lot of this is because deep down inside, some of them want to compete with Exoticals for the male gaze. That's why they're so obsessed with who we date. Has anyone else noticed that? They're stalking Tia Mowry. They're fucking stalking Lori Harvey. They're stalking anybody light-skinned. They stalk anybody who's multiracial. And they're like, oh, Lotto, why did you get with that 21 Savage guy? You know, if I were you, Lotto, I would have got with this other guy. Okay, but you're not Lotto. Why do you care about the dating life of this random woman who's a different phenotype? And I'm also convinced that a lot of women spend tons of money on their beauty maintenance because they think that they're naturally ugly. I mean, if you look at some clips, I'm going to try to insert some clips if I can, but I've literally seen women online saying that they're naturally ugly or that they're chopped without like wigs and makeup.
I'm naturally ugly, so keeping myself together is not easy.
So I think that's also the root of where it comes from as well. And the reason that I've noticed this is because whenever unambiguous women wear their real hair, they feel the need to announce it to other people. Like they will literally post on Instagram, I'm wearing my real hair, #real hair. And it's like, ma'am, I thought that you wear your real hair all the time. Like in my case, I wear my real hair majority of the time. So there's no need for me to randomly announce on social media, hey guys, this is my real hair. I've noticed that women who are pretty with and without makeup, or they're pretty with and without weave, they don't need to make it a point to draw attention to it. But I think it goes back to that femcel mindset, or kind of like this culture of being entitled. I feel like some of them are always looking for a shortcut. Oh, if I just have this new weave, if I just spend more money on a lace front, if I just get a designer bag, if I just wear some red bottoms, if I get a BBL and 360 lipo and a tummy tuck, then I will finally have an edge over this other woman. Because I've noticed that one of their main complaints is, oh, we don't get chosen by men, and there will be a dark-skinned black woman who looks better than the light-skinned woman. But then they can never tell you what it is about the dark-skinned black woman that looks better. They can never point to what facial features, you know, it's like, okay, what makes that dark-skinned black woman look better? Name names. Name what it is that makes the light-skinned woman ugly. Is it her face, her nose, her eyes, her lips? What is it? They can never name feature by feature. They can never go line by line, toe to toe with an exotical, because then, of course, that would expose their own internalized colorism and featureism. But they'll say things like, oh, well, I look better than most women who are lighter than me. And so it's not fair. I need to get chosen. So now, us West African women, we're migrating out of the UK now. We're leaving. We're leaving now because we're not appreciated here. We're going where we're celebrated. But then they want to shame exoticals for being celebrated in the black community, or they want to shame exoticals for being celebrated in Hollywood and in the music industry. And this is why I've always said that the colorism, texturism, and featureism argument, it was never about social justice. It was always about social status. Because their biggest complaint is, I don't get enough status in the media. We didn't win any Grammys. We're not actresses and love interests in movies. Well, the only men that we can attract are men who are darker than us, because love is based on colorism. We don't want dark-skinned black men. We want light-skinned men. We want white men. We want Asian men. And so if they filter us out on dating apps, they're racist. Okay, all of that is like social status stuff. None of that has to do with your actual survival. And I think that in some cases, I think some black women are actually just very codependent. And it's this mindset of they need a man in order for them to feel relevant and chosen. And that's why you tend to see more black women who have kind of this interracial dating content compared to like other races of women. Black women are the ones doing that the most. I don't really see a lot of like Hispanic women, for example, naming their channel Hispanic woman, black man swirl, or like, I don't really see that. I don't really see a swirling movement that's as heavy in non-black cultures. Even if you compare black women to Asian women, it's still not as bad, because even Asian women themselves, a lot of them, especially in America, at least they're wearing their real hair, or they're sticking with this natural color. And I also find that some black women, they'll be like, no, but Asian women, they get surgery, they get the eyelid surgery, so now that justifies me getting all these surgeries. And it's like, okay, so you're admitting that Asian women are your standard of living then. What do the Asian women do? Okay, as long as I'm not more fake than Asian or white women, then I'm good as a black woman. As long as I'm not doing more than other races of women, then I'm good. Okay, you're still using non-blackness as your metric. You're still using non-blackness to measure your own worth or to measure your own lifestyle. So I think that's what it is. But it's definitely a trend where a lot of them, they secretly just want to compete with anyone lighter than them. And so that's why they're always kind of looking for the next big gimmick. They're always susceptible to being scammed, I've noticed. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of black women actually scam other black women. And a lot of them are more susceptible to online trends, such as copying the same hairstyles that they see other women doing. For example, if I'm going to a black event, I already know what I'm going to see. I'm going to see lace fronts. Of course, the hair texture is going to be type 1, 2, or 3. It's always going to be a 1B. I'm definitely going to see some slick back buns with the baby hair edges. It's going to be a low bun, slick back. I'm not going to see any frizz, because that, oh my God, that is like the worst thing you could do in the black community, is have any hair texture that resembles naps. In fact, you're not even allowed to say the word nappy, by the way. If you're light-skinned or if you have type 3 hair, you are banned from saying the word nappy. Meanwhile, if you look at a lot of their content, their whole entire goal is to marry someone who has a different hair texture and to create children who do not have 4C hair. And so a lot of their complaints are like, oh, I'm always the only dark-skinned person, or I'm the only black person. Meanwhile, that's what their future holds. That's what they're going to be in their own families. When they get married, they're going to be the darkest one in their family. That's what she's going to experience. She's going to be the darkest one in her whole family, because she's going to marry someone non-black, or, she's going to have these biracial babies. So her own children won't be able to relate to her experience with the isms. And, children are naturally ignorant. So in a lot of cases, her own children might accidentally be colorist, texturist, or featurist against her. But I think another reason that some of them get jealous when exoticals get special treatment or when we get free stuff is because they have to pay so much money just to maintain themselves. I mean, think about that. She has to pay once a month just to get her nails and toes done and her facial or whatever, her wigs and all that. And so, yeah, that's going to piss her off knowing that you got that stuff for free. knowing that a brand gave that to you, or, you know, you became a natural hair YouTuber, so now you get your free hair stuff. Yeah, that's why it pisses them off so much. It's because on average, they tend to spend the most money on maintenance. You know, their hair costs the most money, or the weaves and all that. It tends to cost the most money because black women actually pressure other black women to get expensive wigs and lace fronts. They will actually make fun of each other if they have like a $20 weave. But have you ever noticed that a lot of them will spend all that money on maintenance just to look like a carbon copy of every other black girl in Atlanta? It's like, ma'am, you literally look like everybody else in Miami. The same body wave, bust down, long acrylic nails, fringe tips, white fingers, white toes. You're wearing Zara, you're wearing Aritzia, you're wearing Louis Vuitton, you're wearing Coach bags and Gucci, YSL. You're wearing Valentino perfume. You've got your baby hair edges slicked down, always with lip gloss on as well. You're wearing Fenty Beauty. I mean, I just described 90% of the African American female population. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.